Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Market cap just over 500 billion. Took another hit last night. Bitcoin was dipping pretty hard. It's a shame with the USD tether issue. I would love to be buying some of these Bitcoin dips, sitting some deep lures. I just no longer feel comfortable until BitUSD is widely adopted. It's kind of just a Zen move, right? You just have to sit on the sidelines and take it. It's not worth it for me right now, not with the debacle, because I think what's going to happen with Tether is going to hit the fan real hard with the subpoena. So I think it's just going to, it's either, they're either going to be legit or their whole business is about to blow up. So I wouldn't be having a large portion of my capital in something that is that risky, right? So it's amazing that it holds its price, though. It's a really weird thing, Tether, how BitUSD can be so suppressed and be so legit compared to something like Tether, where we have no proof of the $2 billion in the account. I can see the market cap's getting a little bigger, but yeah, compared to the $2 billion that's Tether. And you can see the volume starting to pick up drastically. This is happening with all the Tether bullshit. People are starting to realize that BitUSD might be just something, the storm shelter. People might just it might just get on all these big exchanges due to brute force if anything was to happen to Tether. My personal opinion on Tether, I'm not sure. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they had it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have it. I just think it's shady or weird that it's come to this. It should already be transparent. We should already be able to see the audits. That's the only sketch thing going on, right? So it's not a matter of me what I believe. That's fugazi. Who gives a fuck? It's a matter of like them having to prove that they have it, and they should. It's that simple. It's funny. A lot of people suffer during this time, and I know a lot of people are out of bullets. A lot of people are out of bullets. A lot of people are out of ammo. This has been a long one. Right? This has been longer than normal. And people are just sitting on the sidelines, and they're just sort of suffering, right? Every time the market goes down, they hurt a little bit. And that's not the thing. Like, with how long this market has been, there's been time to create value, to get whatever more of the coin. And with these dips, a lot of people don't want to buy them because it's the whole too good to be true, right? People are like, well, it can't be this cheap and going to rebound. It's too good to be true because the status quo has always been that, right? It's weird, the world we live in. The status quo has always kept us down. So people, you can always tell what it is with the terminology of the culture. When too good to be true is a mainstream thing, there's a reason for that. And that's not natural, right? We live in abundance. It's like, it's fuck that. I don't know. It's funny when it's weird. People are just it's always looking at the other end, right? Looking at the other end. When it's down, people are like, man, there's no way, right? I'm just going to stay away. And then when it's up, I don't know. People are just very weird that way. So I throw that whole bullshit out the window. I have a decisive heart. And when I decide on a plan of action, I do it. If I could get in the USD tether, or if, this would be really, because there's been some really hard dumps with Bitcoin. And this would just be, once I make a decision, I was like, okay, do I believe in crypto? Have I done enough research to realize that this is where I want to invest my money, except from stock market and everything else? And once I have my plan of action, there's no, it's done, right? Yeah, of course, I'm not going to be a stone. I'm going to be observant. However, I'm not going to let things that aren't deal sealers change my mind. Like the market going down and we really don't have a good reason. It's not really because, people say because of tech, but, Lightning Network's coming out left and right. These coins are rapidly evolving. So it's more of just an emotional play. So if I know the market's going to be going up in the future, that's how I treat it. I live in the fact that I know the market's going to go back up because I made a decision. That makes these times much easier, much more bearable. Because that's the funny thing about life. What's going to happen is going to happen. It doesn't matter, right? What's going to happen is going to happen. Now, you can either go from A to Z and be miserable, or you can be happy, right? If you're going to fall off a cliff, you're going to fall off a cliff. But if you're constantly worrying about it the whole time, then that's a really shit life, right? You know, it's like you worried about the cliff the whole time, didn't enjoy any kind of fun, then you fell off. You know, at least if you could, it's almost like an oblivion. Like, yeah, you realize what could happen. You make the decision and you just get on that track. Get on that mind track, because no one really knows what's going to happen in the future. All you can control is the right now. And if you have a decisive heart, it makes these times much easier. I can glide through these times. I mean, these times are no problem at all. And if it goes down, that's fine, right? You can be wrong. And that's where you learn. People say they don't want their hopes to get crushed, but that's where you learn. That's where you learn the most. I'm not afraid of having high ambitions and then them crashing down. I don't want to protect myself. This has become like a really cookie cutter culture where everyone wants to protect their emotions, protect the downside, protect the pain. And in that protection, it puts a ceiling over how high you can really go in life. Now, when you remove that ceiling, the sky is the limit. But if you're constantly worried about the downside, hey, and do you, right? Like, really do you. I'm speaking from a pure personal level, from how I view the world and what I've noticed. And anytime I'm worried about the downside, anytime I'm worried about the pain that could happen, there's always this roof, this bubble that forms around me. And it's like, okay, well, you're only going to be able to go as high, as big as your pain, of your fear of the pain is. So, I mean, you know, when you have no fear of going bust, when you have no fear of, you know, they always say the hardest people to fire are the ones that have nothing to lose. If you can keep that mentality, you know, keep the head on straight, don't be reckless. That's another thing. I'm calculated. A lot of people might not fit. This might not fit for them. They might be a little bit too spontaneous, a little bit too reckless. It's funny because I'm naturally cautious in my approach, but yet my approach is fucking batshit crazy aggressive. But in that realm of batshit crazy, I'm as cautious as I can be. So it's riding a roller coaster through a volcano, right? But I'm prepared with the heat equipment so I don't get burned. It's very, very intricate. It's not really intricate. It's just more of just a going with the flow and self-awareness. Once you know self-awareness, you can do anything in life, and you can do it well. Because you know where your strengths are and you know where your weaknesses are. And you know, sometimes I think, man, I should have sold, right? Like, I had a lot of Bitcoin at 18,000. I didn't sell it all. You know, that's natural. That's always going to happen. No matter what, you're going to have that thought. Oh, I should have did this. I should have did that. And the funny thing about life is, no matter how good you are, there's always going to be that, because you can never predict every single time the bottoms and the tops. You never will. You're always going to leave some food on the table in this life. If you're constantly worried about that, do you see the problem? There's no matter what, you can always have that. You can always look at that. No matter how good you are, you could be absolutely crushing it and still focus on that. Or you can just flip the script and focus on the food that's on your table before it gets cold. It's a lot of long ball theory. Just the mindsets. It's very easy to flip like a switch. And when I stop focusing on, oh, what I should have done, and I focus on, oh, what can I do? What can I do now? What can I do now? And a lot of people are asking the wrong questions. Like, people are asking, man, what's a good coin to buy during this dip? And that's the wrong question. Any coin, it's a crash. You know, I mean, yesterday was a lot worse, but it's funny because I wanted to get some steam. And I set my lures just a little late. And look at this. It happened to me over here too. Boom. And then boom. I have some lures set, but somebody's buying up some large chunks of steam. I noticed that. That's another thing. Go to the, I live on the order books. I like, if I'm getting into a coin, I not only do the research, but I'm looking at the order books. I'm looking at the patterns. I'm looking at what people are doing. Just any kind of information you can get. When I played poker, I had all kinds of unnecessary equipment, like software, like things that even calculated how fast they responded in certain situations. I just went complete overkill, and I believe in the same. You never know what little bit of information is going to unlock that big fucking key to the whole deal. Looking at BTC, you're still going to be able to get some good deals, but by now, unless you have your core positions filled, I would just keep filling my core position. During crashes is not the time I'm looking for that next 100x coin. That's not where you do it. All right, put this in perspective. I'm going to probably kill here. Put this in perspective. 100x coin, even if it just goes double X, you can still get a 40, still get a 40x out there. So it's much easier to find those when the market's not crashing so hard. What I like to go after when the market's crashing this hard are my core positions. Something like a NEO, something like a Bitcoin if you have the USD, something like an EOS. I like to get those where I'm like, man, these are my core position, meaning I have the biggest trust. So what I have the biggest trust in, I want to get on the dip. Because those are, nothing's a guarantee, right, guys? But that's where you hedge your best. That's one of the ways you can look at your downside. But it's another one. That's not. I don't look at that as looking at my downside. I look at it as a short win. It's like, man, it's 2nd and 5, and I need a first down. I'm not trying to get fancy and throw a Hail Mary. I could, right? But I'm just gonna maybe run the ball, set myself up with a 3rd and 2, make it much more manageable. That's how I look at it. So, and when the market's a little bit more stable, those are the times you can go over to the coins that have these tremendous upsides, because then it's a double risk, right? Because you're buying on the dip and you're buying a new, and if the coin, it hasn't 100x yet, that means it's probably relatively new. So, you're playing with fire because you never know how those new coins can go. I've bought new coins that I thought were going to just go parabolic, but the new coins, until they get on exchange, they can keep floating in those things. The emotions on the small coins, it's easy to forget them. It's much easier to, it's just going to create long-term holds. Obviously, I only invest in things that I believe in, but still some really good deals. Let's see. I'll go through another few pages on the Bitcoin. One was down 61%. See, I haven't heard of XPlay. A lot of these coins, it's getting to the point where I don't know more coins than not, right? There's a lot of coins. I just, I'm surfing through the ocean. I don't give a fuck. I know a lot of these are probably going to do really well. It's not about that. You're not going to be able to capture every fish. Karma coin. But yeah, just looking at anything that's double digit red, if there's any kind of core positions right now, which I don't think there is, but we'll see. EOS down for EOS. It took a real big hit last night. It was going. There were some big dumps. Neo didn't really do much. Neo's just not budging. Let's see. Populous, it just keeps on going up. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. People say, okay, well, what if there's no dips on the main coins? I mean, well, fuck, we're freestyling right now. What I would do is I would just keep going. I would go down. All right, so I would go to my core positions, and then I would rank what I would consider, the next level of core, and I would try to find the best deal in those. It's black and white to me. It's not, I'm getting the coin that I'm getting the best deal on. It's that simple. Until I load up the bag so much that another coin couldn't fit in that bag. I mean, I don't want to have a lopsided portfolio. But something like basic attention, it's fucking, last night was the night to get it. It seems like we're having a small recovery, but nothing, I wouldn't call this a recovery. Usually we have some ups and downs. This is it's very odd. I don't know. You just don't know when 100 billion is going to leave the market or come into the market. That's why all that's fugazi. I don't give a fuck. I am holding. All of the other trends don't matter. Holding beats out all of that. If you have a decisive heart, selling for a loss, all of that stuff, that's just foreign to me. And yeah, just a lot of patience. Who knows, right? We had a long time in a bull market. We can have a bear market. it doesn't really matter. I just look at bear markets. If you believe in the investment, are always just accumulation periods for the long haul. That's all I look at it. It's always a good. You don't always have to be going up. If you have some foresight, if you know where you're going to be because you know the actions you're taking are putting everything on a conveyor belt to success, it gives you a little bit more confidence during these bear markets to know, hey man, I'm just adding to the portfolio right now. I don't always have to be in a state of gain. I don't always have to have a 10x. I don't always have to be looking at my Blockfolio or whatever and it going up. When I see the red, it's coupon time. It's shopping time. It's Black Friday. Right? It's the biggest shopping time of the year. And when it's green, that's cool. I can look to sell if I want to, yada, yada, yada. But it's just a little bit more foresight. A lot of people are living in the now, and they're wearing their emotions on their sleeves attached to this crypto. It's like being on a sailboat in the middle of a hurricane. I couldn't imagine it. It's a crazy life. If these people can wrangle their emotions, they probably have they're probably pretty tough mentally if they survive this long. And just to get a little, grab the bull by the horn, so to speak, that would be amazing. So lots of potential for a lot of people. Just a matter of perception. That's all. So yeah, I'm going to kill it here. Cheers. Peace.